Art kind of has been a huge facet in my life from the time I was very, very small. I grew up in the theater, dancing, musical theater, and singing. That pull, that creative pull was just still there, and I decided that for me to be completely fulfilled in my life and my career, I needed to go back to school. So I found Art Academy and kind of started pursuing art and activism for women's rights, and kind of the feminist movement was a big inspiration for me to keep my art moving and to keep me moving. So I participated in a residency called Azul, and that residency was in North Carolina. It was in the mountains, like very, very high up in the mountains, very secluded. It was an old, basically artist-run commune at one time, and a woman and her husband had built this house out of absolutely nothing. And it really drew me because I wanted to be in the middle of nowhere to start doing a little bit more research and dig into me specifically. And at that point in time, performance was really, really relevant in my process and in the work that I was making. So I wanted to take time and kind of explore my dance background and how that was kind of informing my performance. So I really spent a lot of time, it rained the whole time, which was okay, actually. It kind of worked because I was forced to kind of experiment with what I had without being outside. And when I was outside, I was in the rain and I had all these different things that were happening, and it really gave me a breakthrough to be in a situation where things weren't like necessarily correct or like arty because it was raining. It was, it was just me and one other resident. And I made some really big breakthroughs, I think. Just those conversations and connections that I was able to make with the other artists and this owner, this woman, her name was Camille. While I was there, it was mind-blowing. Something I would definitely recommend, getting out of your comfort zone and getting out of like a truly comfortable art space and going into a space that you're kind of unfamiliar with, because I think you start pushing your work a lot more, and you start making these connections to art that you never would have had if you hadn't been kind of uncomfortable for a little bit. My creative process is extremely research-driven. I typically pinpoint topics that are relevant to me and my family and the people that I surround myself with. And I dig heavily into kind of processes and what's made these things come to pass. So I've gone with my gut. So research is super important for me to kind of pick out those details, be relevant in what I'm saying and what I'm making. The art that I'm making now is really strong themes of women's rights, reproductive justice rights, and how we can kind of look at this legislation that's happening now and the changes that are happening now in our country, in our state, in our in our healthcare systems, and how we can make those accessible to everyone, and how we can kind of take those things and change them for the better.